Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever stopped to think that every decision, big or small, could be the one that changes your future? What if the path to success was hidden in the simple choices you make each day? And here's the question most people avoid. Are you drifting through life, or are you actively shaping your destiny? The truth is, most wander without realizing each choice is a turning point. Why settle for stagnation when you can command your future? The key lies in one powerful mindset. Act as if every decision has the power to shift everything. The moment you embrace this, hesitation dies and momentum takes over. Will you take control, or will you watch others move ahead? Imagine waking up every day with the unshakable belief that every step brings you closer to your ultimate vision. Now, picture this in your own life. Would you walk with more confidence? Choose your words with greater intention? Acting as if is not just positive thinking. It's the blueprint for manifesting your goals. Far too many remain trapped by hesitation, fearing the wrong move. But indecision itself is a choice. The choice to surrender your power to chance. When you act as if, you turn hesitation into action and doubt into certainty. Why does it work? Because you're training your mind to believe each step carries the weight of destiny. Cornelius Vanderbilt, the American business magnate, never waited for perfect conditions. He acted as if his choices would succeed, and they did. While others doubted steamships, Vanderbilt invested with conviction. He didn't just hope for success, he assumed it. And that assumption became reality. That is the essence of act as if, turning belief into a living force that can move mountains. But ask yourself this, how often do you second-guess your own abilities? How many times have you stood at the edge of opportunity, only to freeze in fear? Acting as if strips away the luxury of doubt. It pushes you to step boldly into the unknown, not guided by certainty, but by conviction. The path forward is simple. Decide that every choice you make moves you closer to your vision. Act with the confidence of someone who has already succeeded. Let hesitation burn away in the fire of determination. When you move with that kind of purpose, the world itself begins to yield. Will you act as if every decision propels you forward, or let doubt wash away your ambition? Picture your obstacles not as barriers, but as stepping stones. What if every setback was simply redirection toward something greater? Acting as if every challenge is part of your design for success is the foundation of resilience. You are not merely enduring, you are advancing. Most see difficulty as a stop sign, but those who act as if every challenge is an opportunity turn obstacles into tools that sharpen their edge. In the end, you are either a victim of circumstance or a master of it. The choice is yours. Consider Benjamin Disraeli, who rose to become Prime Minister of Great Britain despite countless setbacks. He failed repeatedly in his early political career, yet instead of retreating, he acted as if every setback was one step closer to triumph. Obstacles weren't reasons to surrender, they sharpened his resolve. Now consider your own path. That missed promotion may have spared you a role that would have stifled your talent. The painful breakup likely made space for someone who truly sees your worth. A failed venture taught lessons no easy win could deliver. The ancient Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Modern psychology echoes it with research on post-traumatic growth, the deep transformation that often follows life's hardest trials. First, when you face an obstacle, pause. Instead of reacting with frustration, ask, what is this teaching me? Where is it directing me? That reframing triggers problem solving, not defensiveness. Second, study the obstacle like a river studying rocks. Find the path of least resistance without abandoning your destination. Sometimes the detour reveals landscapes you'd never see otherwise. Third, remember obstacles filter out the uncommitted. When others retreat, your willingness to persist becomes your edge. In time, the obstacle itself becomes the opportunity. So how do you view the barriers in your life? Do you curse them, shrink back, or act as if each one is guiding you toward a stronger version of yourself? Acting as if every difficulty is a stepping stone demands real mental fortitude, and it's within your reach. But it is the foundation upon which greatness is built. The real question is, will you let obstacles define you, or will you use them to lift yourself higher? Unshakable confidence isn't something you're born with. It's built, brick by brick, choice by choice. Acting as if every step takes you closer to your highest self creates a confidence that cannot be shaken. This isn't arrogance, it's assurance. Too many wait for proof before they believe. But the truth is, proof follows belief, not the other way around. You can't sit back waiting for evidence of success. Confidence comes from acting as if you already own the results. Take Andrew Carnegie, who built America's steel empire. He wasn't born wealthy, nor did he inherit riches. Instead, he acted as if he belonged at the top long before he arrived. Every handshake, every deal, every investment carried the conviction of someone who already possessed what he sought. That mindset forged his empire. And science supports this. When you act with confidence, your body responds. Cortisol drops, testosterone and serotonin rise. Your posture strengthens, your voice carries more weight, and people react differently to your presence. Biology follows psychology. Start with your body. Stand tall, speak clearly, move with purpose. Your body doesn't know the difference between real confidence and practiced confidence. It responds the same, creating a powerful loop that turns belief into reality. Then, shift your language. Replace "I'll try" with "I will," "I hope" with "I know," and "I'm sorry" with "thank you." The words you choose shape both your subconscious and how others perceive your authority. Finally, face the challenges that scare you. Each time you step beyond your comfort zone and endure, you gather proof that you can handle uncertainty, and that's how confidence is built. The cornerstone of unshakable confidence begins with you. How many times have you held back, waiting for certainty? How often have you doubted your own capacity simply because the results had yet to show? Acting as if you are destined to succeed eliminates hesitation and instills a purpose no circumstance can shake. Start by moving with the confidence of someone who has already achieved what they desire. Speak with authority. Walk with intention. Let every action reflect the belief that you are already on the path to greatness. Will you act as if success is inevitable, or keep waiting for proof that may never come? This mindset builds the habit of decisiveness. Acting as if every choice matters pushes you to act with purpose, replacing paralysis with momentum. History never remembers the hesitant. It remembers those who decide. Take Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman to earn a medical degree in America. She was told again and again that medicine was not for women, yet she acted as if it was already her destiny. She didn't wait for approval. She chose, and her conviction opened doors once tightly shut. Now consider yourself. How often do you hesitate when opportunity knocks? How many chances have slipped by because you were waiting for the right time? The truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. Acting as if every decision moves you forward erases doubt and fuels action. The world rewards decisiveness, and every great leader, innovator, and change-maker shares this trait. While others hesitate, the decisive gain momentum and move ahead. This momentum generates a force that pushes obstacles aside and draws new opportunities closer. Decisiveness isn't about making flawless choices. It's about making timely ones. Life has a way of rewarding movement. A decision made today, even if adjusted tomorrow, brings more results than endless planning with no action. Think about it. Every time you hesitate, someone else is seizing that same chance. In business, relationships, and personal growth, the decisive always gain the upper hand. They know an imperfect choice executed with conviction will always outperform a perfect plan that never leaves the page. To build this habit, start small. Decide quickly in everyday situations. Pick a restaurant without overanalyzing. Choose a workout without debate. Reply to messages instead of letting them sit. Train your mind with deadlines. 30 seconds for minor choices, an hour for moderate ones, and a day for big decisions. This practice strengthens your decision-making muscle and prevents the trap of analysis paralysis. As you act with consistency, hesitation fades and opportunities begin to unfold. With each decision, your confidence expands, creating a cycle of action and achievement. The question is, will you choose to act or stand still while others move past you? The choice and the outcome are yours alone. Turning vision into reality. Remember, vision is the seed, but action is the water that makes it grow. Acting as if your vision is already real is what closes the gap between dreams and reality. When you embrace this mindset, your thoughts, words, and actions align with your ultimate goal. Think of Thomas Edison. He acted as if the electric light wasn't just possible, but inevitable. Thousands of failed attempts weren't failures to him, but stepping stones toward success. Do you treat your dreams as certain, or do you merely hope for them? Acting as if makes your vision present, giving it weight long before it's tangible. To do this, speak as if, move as if, believe as if. This conviction becomes magnetic, drawing resources, people, and opportunities into your path. Others feel your certainty and are compelled to join your journey. Acting as if means making today's decisions based on tomorrow's reality. It's speaking in the present tense, shaping your environment to reflect where you're going, and investing in the skills you'll need when your vision arrives. Begin by immersing yourself in sensory detail. How does your vision look, sound, and feel? What daily actions would you take if it were already true? Each aligned step, no matter how small, strengthens belief and signals progress. And remember, doubt is the assassin of dreams. When uncertainty rises, return to conviction. Every visionary has faced moments of doubt, but the ones who succeed act as if success is inevitable, especially when evidence says otherwise. Will you act as if your vision is already reality, or will you wait for the world to believe in it first? History's greatest creators never asked for permission or validation. They acted as if until vision and reality became one. And when you act as if every decision moves you forward, you unlock the true power of persistence. Persistence isn't only about pushing through obstacles. It's about moving with steady faith, even when the path is uncertain. Most people don't quit because they lack ability, but because they can't bear the weight of waiting. Acting as if every step counts transforms waiting into building. Consider William Wilberforce, who devoted his life to abolishing the slave trade in the British Empire. For decades, he faced defeat and relentless opposition, yet he acted as if victory was inevitable. In 1833, the Slavery Abolition Act became law, proof of what unshakable belief and action can achieve. So, how do you respond to resistance? Do you falter, or do you act as if persistence is the only way forward? When every setback becomes a step ahead, the illusion of failure disappears. It's not the end, but the beginning of your refinement. The path of persistence demands a mental shift. You must accept that every great achievement requires enduring effort through uncertainty. History's greatest triumphs were built on countless unseen moments of perseverance. When giving up feels logical, persistence is what turns ordinary talent into extraordinary accomplishment. The world is full of brilliant minds who give up too soon. What sets achievers apart is the willingness to endure when others retreat. That resilience becomes your greatest advantage. The secret to persistence isn't found in bursts of willpower, but in your daily habits. Break big goals into manageable steps, celebrate the small wins most overlook, and build systems that make persistence your default response. When fatigue or doubt creep in, return to your purpose. Your why must be stronger than your why not. Persistence isn't blind stubbornness, it's strategic adaptation. The persistent mind adjusts approaches, learns from results, and stays locked on the destination while remaining flexible about the path. This balance of resolve and adaptability defines true persistence. In moments of uncertainty, act as if the outcome is already secured. That conviction forms the bridge carrying you through valleys of doubt. To master persistence, decide now that quitting is not an option. Train your mind to move with relentless faith, pressing forward no matter how things appear. With this mindset, you become a force that cannot be stopped. Will you act as if every step forward matters, even when the progress is invisible? Elevating your standards begins with this mindset. Every choice either moves you closer to greatness or keeps you anchored in mediocrity. When you act as if each decision shapes your destiny, you naturally raise the bar for yourself. This isn't about perfection, it's about refusing to compromise on what truly matters. George Westinghouse understood this well. At a time when direct current ruled the market and competitors mocked his vision, he championed alternating current. He didn't merely hope it would succeed. He acted as if its victory was inevitable. That elevated standard fueled relentless innovation, ultimately electrifying the modern world. Your standards are more than preferences, they are predictions. Demand excellence, and excellence becomes your reality. Tolerate mediocrity, and it becomes your ceiling. Ask yourself, Would the person you aspire to become accept the compromises you make today? Would they spend their time, energy, and focus the way you do? Elevated standards begin with awareness. Notice where you've been settling, in work, relationships, health, or personal growth. Compromises often disguise themselves as practicality, but more often they're rooted in fear. Start small. Choose one area where you've been accepting less than you deserve. It might be allowing constant interruptions during important work, tolerating disrespect in a relationship, or rushing through meaningful tasks. Set a new standard and honor it without exception. Your standards create the boundaries of what you'll accept and what you'll reject. When you raise those boundaries, you naturally cut off habits, influences, and even relationships that no longer align with your vision. This takes courage. Elevated standards often mean saying no more often, disappointing others at times, and pushing past your own resistance to change. But think about the alternative, living below your potential. Each compromise slowly erodes your belief in what's possible for your life. Will you act as if your standards truly shape your destiny? Because they do. Comfort, on the other hand, is the silent killer of potential. When you settle into routines that demand nothing new, growth doesn't just slow, it becomes impossible. Just like muscle only strengthens under resistance, the human spirit develops when pushed beyond its limits. That's why discomfort isn't optional for transformation. It's essential. Consider Admiral Horatio Nelson at the Battle of Trafalgar. Facing a superior fleet, conventional wisdom urged caution. Instead, Nelson embraced extreme risk, steering directly into enemy fire with an unconventional strategy. Why? Because he knew breakthroughs require embracing discomfort others avoid. His courage secured Britain's most decisive naval victory, reshaping European history. This principle reaches far beyond battlefields. Every major advancement, scientific, artistic, philosophical, or personal, was born from someone willing to endure the discomfort that others ran from. Einstein's theories weren't born from comfort, but from relentlessly confronting paradoxes that baffled his peers. Rosa Parks didn't transform America by avoiding risk, but by stepping directly into discomfort that changed a nation. Now, ask yourself honestly, what conversations are you avoiding because they feel too uncomfortable? What skills remain undeveloped because learning them feels awkward? What dreams have you left behind because chasing them risks failure or judgment? These questions reveal the hidden walls that comfort has built in your life. When you act as if discomfort isn't an obstacle, but a compass pointing toward your greatest potential, everything shifts. Rejection becomes redirection. Criticism sharpens you into refinement. Failure transforms into education. The very things most people dread become the stepping stones you welcome, because you know they contain the seeds of your growth. But this mindset doesn't arrive by accident. It demands practice. It means deliberately choosing the harder path precisely because it's harder. Begin your day with the toughest task, not the easiest. Seek out perspectives that challenge your beliefs instead of confirming them. Push your body beyond its limits rather than settling for maintenance. Here's the paradox. Those who chase comfort become fragile, while those who embrace discomfort build resilience strong enough to face anything. Your nervous system literally rewires itself to handle greater challenges when it is consistently exposed to manageable stress. Masters in every field understand this truth deeply. They don't just endure discomfort, they actively seek it, knowing it's the only road to mastery. They've learned that minutes of unease can be traded for years of capability. So, will you keep avoiding what feels difficult, or will you act as if discomfort is your greatest teacher? The quality of your future hinges on this choice. And then there's time, your greatest ally. Everyone is given the same 24 hours, yet the outcomes couldn't be more different. Some turn those hours into empires, masterpieces, and lasting legacies. Others let them slip away into regret. The difference isn't in the time itself, but in how it's perceived. Is time just something to be consumed, or is it a resource to be leveraged? James J. Hill, the visionary behind the Great Northern Railway, proved the answer. Unlike his competitors who relied on government subsidies, Hill built a transcontinental railroad that thrived while others collapsed. His advantage wasn't more hours, it was how he treated them. Hill acted as if each moment carried immense weight, laying track mile by mile with unwavering purpose. He didn't merely spend time. He invested it with precision, understanding that consistent, deliberate action compounds like interest, creating extraordinary results over time. This perspective reshapes how you approach each day. When you view time as an ally rather than an adversary, procrastination loses its grip. Why delay progress when every moment holds the chance to move forward? True urgency doesn't come from anxiety, but from recognizing potential. Each hour carries possibilities that vanish once they pass. Yet most people treat time passively, speaking of killing time or spending time, as if this precious resource were something to waste instead of multiply. They allow distractions, notifications, and others' priorities to dictate how their irreplaceable hours slip away. The alternative demands a radical shift, seeing time as your most valuable investment. Just as a wise investor scrutinizes every dollar, you must be intentional about where every minute flows. This doesn't mean eliminating rest or leisure. It means ensuring even relaxation contributes to your greater vision rather than stealing from it. Start with a time audit. For 1 week, track exactly how your hours are spent. The results often surprise even the disciplined, exposing unconscious habits that devour vast portions of life. Then, establish firm boundaries around your most productive hours. Guard these blocks like priceless assets, because that's exactly what they are. And remember, most so-called emergencies that disrupt your focus aren't emergencies at all. They're often just other people's preferences disguised as priorities. The real skill lies in separating what truly demands your time from what can wait. Paradoxically, leveraging time often requires slowing down in order to speed up. Strategic pauses for reflection prevent you from mistaking busyness for real progress. Regular intervals of deliberate thought ensure you're building the right track, not racing full speed in the wrong direction. The compound effect is extraordinary. Small, consistent investments of focused time create exponential returns that outsiders may mistake for luck. But you'll know it came from thousands of intentional moments directed toward your vision. So ask yourself, will you keep surrendering your hours, or will you turn them into relentless allies working for your future? True faith isn't the absence of doubt, it's the commitment to act despite it. In a world obsessed with instant validation, the ability to believe firmly in what remains unseen may be the greatest power of all. This isn't blind optimism. It's disciplined conviction, holding fast to vision when circumstances scream otherwise. Florence Nightingale embodied this truth. Born into privilege, she rejected the comfort of aristocracy to follow what she saw as a divine calling to nursing, a profession then considered unfit for women of her class. During the Crimean War, she stepped into filthy hospitals where mortality rates soared above 40%. Instead of surrendering to despair, Nightingale acted as if transformation was inevitable. Her faith wasn't passive hope. It became meticulous data collection, strict sanitation protocols, and relentless advocacy. Because of her unwavering belief, mortality rates fell to just 2%, and the foundations of modern nursing were born. What sets this kind of faith apart from mere wishful thinking? It's the union of unshakable vision with unflinching action. Nightingale didn't just believe hospitals could improve. She built systems that made progress inevitable. Her faith created a bridge between present limitations and future breakthroughs. Faith of this level must be deliberately cultivated. It starts with mental discipline, training your thoughts to focus on possibility rather than limitation. When obstacles appear, ask yourself, what opportunity hides within this challenge? Instead of why is this happening to me? That small shift keeps setbacks from turning into permanent barriers. Equally vital is surrounding yourself with evidence of possibility. Study those who've accomplished what you seek. Immerse yourself not only in their victories, but in their struggles, noticing how they kept faith alive through difficulty. Their stories can fuel you when your own strength feels depleted. Speak the language of certainty. Remove phrases like, I'll try, or I hope to, and replace them with firm declarations. I will, and I am. This isn't just wordplay. It's neurological programming that shapes how you meet challenges. Most importantly, act as if success is inevitable. Not because the outcome is guaranteed, but because you trust the process of growth itself. True faith accepts that while the path may shift, the destination remains the same. With this perspective, setbacks become redirections, and criticism becomes refinement. This kind of faith creates a powerful paradox. Believing in what you cannot, yet see while making that invisible vision more visible every day through consistent action. It requires holding two truths at once, acknowledging the present while acting as if the future already exists. Cultivating this kind of faith isn't optional for extraordinary achievement, it's essential. As William James said, belief creates the actual fact. Will you dare to believe first so that one day you may see? Fear, humanity's oldest alarm system, once protected our ancestors from predators and danger. But in today's world, it often keeps us not from death, but from growth. The threats we face rarely threaten survival, but they do endanger our potential, our legacy, and our fulfillment when we let fear dictate our choices. Take Harriet Tubman, whose courage defied limits. After escaping slavery, she could have lived safely in Philadelphia, enjoying her freedom. Instead, she returned 19 times into slave territory, risking torture, execution, and a $40,000 bounty on her head to lead others to freedom. Tubman wasn't fearless. She simply refused to let fear decide for her. "I was free," she declared, "and they should be free also." This is the vital truth. Conquering fear doesn't mean eliminating it. It means refusing to let it control your actions. Fear itself is not good or bad. It's simply information. The real question is, what will you do with it? The paradox of fear is that it shrinks not by analysis or endless preparation, but only by direct confrontation. You can't think your way out of fear. You must act your way through it. Every step you take in spite of fear weakens its grip, creating proof that contradicts its warnings. Even the smallest acts of courage deliver outsized returns, breaking down the very belief systems that once held you back. Start by noticing how fear shows up in your body, the tightness in your chest, the racing heartbeat, the flood of worst-case scenarios in your mind. Recognizing these signals creates space between you and the fear. You have fear, but you are not fear. That shift alone gives you the power of choice. Then, reframe it. Physiologically, fear and excitement are almost identical. Both elevate your pulse, heighten awareness, and surge energy. The difference lies in interpretation. By consciously labeling those sensations as excitement instead of danger, you turn what once paralyzed you into fuel for action. Even more powerful is practicing fear setting, not just goal setting. Write your fears down, spell out the worst outcomes, then examine their likelihood, permanence, and your ability to recover. This exercise almost always reveals that what we dread is rarely as catastrophic as we imagine. The real victory over fear isn't eliminating it. It's acting decisively in its presence. That realization builds an unshakable foundation for bold living. You become untouchable to the status quo, immune to fear's manipulation, and capable of achievements others deem impossible. So, will you keep letting fear shrink your life into quiet insignificance? Or will you use it as a compass pointing toward your greatest contribution? Because your environment whispers to you every day, shaping your thoughts and choices, often without you even realizing it. Like water carving a canyon, small influences may seem trivial in the moment, yet their accumulation steers your life. Recognize that power, and you stop being a passive product of your surroundings. You become their deliberate architect. Consider Booker T. Washington building Tuskegee Institute in 1881. Born into slavery and facing post-Civil War Alabama, he knew environment wasn't a backdrop, but a catalyst, or a constraint. Starting with an abandoned plantation, he crafted a school that embodied excellence amid scarcity. Students didn't just study. They built the campus with their own hands, creating proof that their future could rise beyond circumstance. Washington didn't just raise buildings. He engineered an atmosphere of possibility that produced generations of leaders despite a hostile world. Begin your own redesign with an audit. Check your physical spaces. Does your home office invite deep work or distracted browsing? Does your bedroom support real rest or endless scrolling? Then inspect your digital world. Do notifications fracture your focus? Does your feed elevate your thinking or inflame your anxiety? Finally, assess your social circle. Do your 5 closest relationships reflect where you're going or where you've been? The findings can sting. Often, the gap between your aspirations and your environment explains why willpower alone hasn't stuck. No amount of motivation can forever outrun an ecosystem wired to sabotage your goals. Start with subtraction before addition. Remove temptations instead of resisting them, and unfollow influences that spark comparison rather than inspiration. Distance yourself from relationships that keep you tied to outdated versions of yourself. Create space first, then fill it with people and influences aligned with your future. Engineer simple environmental triggers that make the right choices almost automatic. Leave your running shoes by the door if you're building a fitness habit. Place books where you can see them if you're cultivating intellectual growth. Design spaces for creating, not consuming. Most importantly, curate your social circle with uncompromising selectivity. Research is clear. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Their standards shape your normal. Their limitations often define your ceiling. So choose these influences not for comfort or history, but for alignment with where you're going. Remember, environment design isn't a one-time project. It's an ongoing practice. As your goals evolve, your surroundings must evolve too. The environment that fueled your growth yesterday may restrict your progress tomorrow. Will you let random circumstances dictate your direction? Or will you step into the role of architect, deliberately shaping spaces, relationships, and influences that make your highest aspirations not just possible, but inevitable? And this leads to the cornerstone of true transformation, mastering self-discipline. Talent creates potential, and inspiration sparks possibility, but only discipline makes them real. It's the invisible architecture behind every great achievement, the ability to act according to your highest intentions, even when immediate desires try to pull you away. John D. Rockefeller's disciplined approach to life began long before his name was linked to immense wealth. As a young clerk earning modest wages, he tracked every penny of income and expense in a small book he called Ledger A. While many of his peers spent freely, Rockefeller saved and invested systematically, no matter how small the amount. He treated business matters with clockwork precision, avoided debt with absolute discipline, and followed strict personal routines, rising early and repeating the same morning habits, decades before such practices became common advice. What stands out most about Rockefeller's discipline is that it didn't appear after his success. His success was the inevitable result of the consistency he maintained long before extraordinary achievements were visible. Even as his fortune grew to unprecedented levels, his methodical self-management never wavered. It proved that discipline is not a temporary strategy, but a lifelong operating system. This same pattern is clear in every field. Olympic athletes train whether they feel inspired or not. Great authors write daily, even when motivation is absent. And true leaders make tough choices based on principles rather than convenience. Their greatness was not forged by occasional bursts of effort, but by the steady compound effect of disciplined choices made when no one was watching. The paradox of self-discipline is that, while it may seem restrictive, it actually creates freedom. By directing your actions regardless of emotions, you free yourself from the tyranny of impulse. This ability allows sustained effort toward meaningful goals instead of being trapped by fleeting desires, a liberation the undisciplined never taste. To build this power, first recognize that motivation is unreliable. It fluctuates with sleep, mood, and countless factors beyond your control. Discipline, in contrast, is a decision made in advance. A commitment to act regardless of how you feel when the time comes. Treat these actions not as routines, but as sacred commitments. Whether it's morning writing, strategic planning, or physical training, honor them as you would a meeting with your most important mentor. The hardest part is rarely the work itself, but the act of beginning. Commit to just 5 minutes. Knowing momentum will carry you further. Track your progress diligently. What gets measured improves. Even a simple checkmark creates a visual chain you'll hesitate to break. Most importantly, build a relationship with discomfort. Discipline isn't about avoiding it, but learning to function within it. Recognizing that real growth lies at the edge of your comfort zone. Will you drift along the path of least resistance, or use discipline's power to design life on your terms? Commitment is the invisible force that turns potential into reality. True commitment is not casual interest or conditional effort. It's an unshakable devotion that erases hesitation. Isambard Kingdom Brunel embodied this in the 19th century. With the Great Western Railway, he didn't just build transportation. He transformed how people experience distance. His innovations, like the broad gauge railway, brought unprecedented speed and comfort. When designing the Clifton Suspension Bridge, Brunel committed not just to spanning a gorge, but to creating a structure of elegance and durability that still carries traffic nearly 2 centuries later. His work proved that commitment isn't about temporary fixes, but about reshaping what's possible. The difference between interest and commitment is subtle yet profound. Interest says, "I'll try, as long as it's easy." Commitment declares, "I will find a way, no matter what." Interest wavers with circumstances. Commitment endures. Commitment stays firm no matter the conditions. This is why so many begin journeys of transformation, but so few complete them. Most treat their biggest aspirations with mere interest, not true commitment. They start businesses, relationships, health regimens, or creative projects full of enthusiasm, only to abandon them when challenges arise. But real commitment isn't proven in easy times. It's revealed in trials. Obstacles are not signs to quit, but opportunities to demonstrate resilience. Each challenge you overcome strengthens your identity as someone who persists regardless of circumstances. And here's the deeper truth. Commitment is not just about reaching a destination. It's about who you become along the way. Dedication to worthy pursuits develops qualities like resilience, integrity, discipline, and courage, shaping every aspect of your life. So ask yourself, will you keep approaching your aspirations with conditional interest, or will you embrace the transformative power of absolute commitment? Because the moment you step beyond the limits of convention, criticism will follow. Criticism is the price of distinction. Brilliant ideas have been abandoned, voices silenced, and innovation stalled not due to lack of merit, but because their creators couldn't withstand judgment. Mary C. Cole faced both racism and sexism in Victorian England. When the British War Office rejected her application to nurse soldiers in the Crimean War, she didn't retreat. Instead, she personally financed her journey, built the British Hotel, and cared for the wounded despite opposition and condemnation. She understood a vital truth. Waiting for universal approval means eternal inaction. Her conviction outweighed criticism, enabling her to serve when institutions said she couldn't. Building your own immunity to criticism begins with recognizing its true nature. Criticism usually reveals more about the critic than the one being criticized. Those who are most vocal about the work of others are often the least engaged in meaningful pursuits themselves. This is no accident. Creating demands courage, something criticism does not. The faceless crowds who disparaged Mary C. Cole's efforts offered nothing to the soldiers whose lives she saved. The key is learning to distinguish constructive feedback from empty criticism. True feedback is specific, actionable, and given with genuine intent to help you improve. Criticism, on the other hand, is vague, generalized, and usually serves only the critic's emotional needs. Welcome the former, but build resilience against the latter. Remember, history's most transformative figures all endured severe criticism. Gandhi was branded a seditious fanatic. Einstein's theories were dismissed as absurd. Martin Luther King Jr. was labeled an extremist by his contemporaries. Had they watered down their vision to appease critics, the world would have been robbed of their priceless contributions. Criticism often correlates with impact. Actions of little consequence rarely attract serious opposition. When criticism grows louder, it's usually a sign that your work is disrupting the status quo, which is exactly what meaningful change requires. Develop a stance toward critics that neither denies their presence nor allows them to dictate your actions. Acknowledge criticism without internalizing it. Evaluate its truth without letting it define you. Take the useful insights, discard the emotional weight, and most importantly, anchor yourself in your core values. Measure your actions against those values, not against fleeting public opinion. This inner compass provides stability when external judgment shifts like the wind. Will you let the fear of criticism limit your voice? Or will you cultivate the immunity that grants freedom of thought and action? One of the most powerful tools to build that freedom is visualization. Far from being a feel-good exercise, it's a proven neurological method backed by science. When you vividly picture achieving your goals, your brain fires the same neural pathways as if you were actually performing those actions. This mental rehearsal creates a blueprint, sharpening your ability to recognize opportunities and preparing your nervous system for success. Consider Emmeline Pankhurst, who spearheaded the British women's suffrage movement when society still viewed women as property, not citizens. She didn't simply wish for equality, she envisioned it. She lived mentally in a world where women voted and held political power. This wasn't fantasy, but strategy. By continually visualizing women casting ballots and shaping politics, she trained her mind to see possibilities others missed. That vision sustained her through imprisonment, force feedings, and ridicule, until women finally won the right to vote in Britain in 1918. Effective visualization is far more than idle daydreaming. It engages every sense. Seeing the environment in sharp detail, hearing the sounds, feeling the emotions, even imagining the scents and tastes of success. This multisensory immersion creates what neuroscientists call embodied cognition, where your brain and body respond as if the imagined experience were real. Begin by establishing a daily ritual. Spend 10 minutes in a quiet space, free from distractions. Calm your body with deep breathing. Then construct your vision with precision, layering each sensory detail until it feels tangible. Don't just picture the victory. See yourself overcoming the obstacles in your path. This mental rehearsal builds neural pathways that activate when those challenges appear in reality. But visualization without action is incomplete. Always finish by imagining yourself taking the very next step, and then physically take it. This creates a seamless bridge between thought and execution. Reinforce the practice with physical anchors, a vision board filled with images of your goals, or a small token you carry as a symbol of your commitment. These reminders reactivate the neural patterns you've built, keeping your focus sharp even in the middle of daily distractions. The real question is, will you drift through life without a clear mental map, or will you harness visualization to program your mind and body for inevitable success? Because every setback you face can become a setup for transformation. Setbacks, rejections, failures, and obstacles are not the end of your vision. They are calibration points that refine both your strategy and your character. When you learn to see these moments as setups instead of shutdowns, what breaks others becomes what builds you. Take Charles Goodyear, for example. His decade-long pursuit to create durable rubber looked like futility. Bankruptcy, imprisonment for debt, and endless ridicule followed him. His samples melted in summer and cracked in winter. By all logic, it seemed like failure. Yet in 1839, when he accidentally dropped rubber mixed with sulfur onto a hot stove, he discovered vulcanization, a process that revolutionized industries from automobiles to aerospace. His failures weren't wasted. They were necessary iterations leading to breakthrough. You can cultivate this same mindset by asking better questions in the face of setbacks. Instead of, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Replace, "How could I have avoided this?" with, "How can I leverage this?" This shift turns adversity from something that defines you into something that strengthens you. History proves it again and again. Penicillin came from Alexander Fleming's ruined bacterial experiments. Post-it notes were born out of a failed adhesive project. The microwave oven emerged when a researcher noticed his chocolate bar melting near radar equipment. Breakthroughs often arrive wrapped in failure, if only you choose to see them that way. Setbacks are not just accidents of fate. They're opportunities waiting to be uncovered. The difference lies in training your mind to pivot quickly. Allow yourself only a brief window for disappointment, perhaps a day. Then deliberately shift to identifying new opportunities. Write down at least 3 lessons or advantages hidden within the setback. This simple practice rewires your brain to automatically turn obstacles into stepping stones. And remember, setbacks often develop qualities success never could. Resilience, adaptability, humility, and innovative thinking are born not from smooth paths, but from navigating rough terrain. These qualities often prove far more valuable than any short-term goal delayed along the way. So, will you let setbacks limit you, or will you use them as the very foundation of growth? This leads us to the power of ironclad patience. Patience isn't passive waiting, it's active persistence across time. It's the rare ability to stay committed even when results remain invisible. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, true patience has become revolutionary, separating those who build lasting impact from those chasing fleeting wins. Samuel Morse is a powerful example. Before inventing the telegraph that transformed human communication, he gave up a promising career in painting to pursue his vision. For years, he endured ridicule, financial hardship, and countless technical failures. For 12 long years, he refined his invention while creating the code that now bears his name. There was no external sign of success during this time, yet Morse embodied active patience, refining, improving, and persevering long before the world recognized his achievement. Samuel Morse's steadfastness culminated in the first telegraph message, "What hath God wrought?" a phrase that captured the enormity of his achievement. The lesson here is clear. The difference between true patience and mere waiting lies in action. Waiting is passive hope, but patience is active faith, proven through steady, persistent effort. Morse didn't sit idle, hoping for success. He worked methodically, knowing that great achievements demand timelines that cannot be rushed. This paradox explains why so many abandon their pursuits too soon. Studies show most people overestimate what they can achieve in a single day, but vastly underestimate what consistent effort can build over a year. We often grow impatient right when persistence would lead to breakthrough. Developing ironclad patience begins with setting accurate expectations. Map backward from your ultimate goal, study how long similar achievements required, and prepare for the journey. Too many quit at the midpoint, mistaking the middle for the end. Most importantly, embrace patience not as an occasional tactic, but as part of your identity. When it becomes who you are, setbacks no longer dictate your path. So ask yourself, will you continue abandoning worthy pursuits when progress feels slow? Or will you cultivate the patience that transforms struggle into success? And remember, success rarely comes in one dramatic leap. It's built on small, consistent wins that compound over time, creating unstoppable momentum. Each small victory sparks momentum, neurological, psychological, and practical, that pushes you closer to bigger achievements, as long as you know how to recognize and leverage them. George Eastman understood this principle well. Instead of chasing one dramatic leap, he transformed photography through steady, incremental improvements. At the time, photography was cumbersome, requiring bulky equipment, glass plates, and technical expertise. Eastman began by creating dry plates that removed the need for immediate development. Then came film rolls to replace glass plates, followed by simpler camera designs. His journey culminated in the iconic Kodak camera with its promise. You press the button, we do the rest. Each step built on the last, compounding momentum until photography became accessible to millions. Science explains why this works. Every small win triggers dopamine, a natural reward that fuels motivation. Psychologically, it builds self-efficacy, the belief in your ability to succeed, creating a feedback loop that inspires you to aim higher. Practically, each step adds resources, knowledge, and positioning for greater success. So how do you harness this? Break big goals into small, achievable units. Don't just focus on writing an entire book. Celebrate finishing a page. Don't obsess over building a business empire. Acknowledge landing your first customer. These small milestones are the fuel that sustains your drive. Keep track of them, perhaps in a dedicated victory journal, to remind yourself of the progress you're steadily building. This practice makes progress visible even when larger goals feel far away, giving you tangible proof of forward motion. During inevitable plateaus, looking back at this record reminds you of the momentum already built, keeping discouragement from stopping your progress. Celebrate each small win deliberately. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Maybe a moment of reflection, sharing it with someone who supports you, or giving yourself a small reward. These rituals lock the achievement into your memory, strengthening the neural pathways that fuel productive behavior. By sequencing your goals strategically, you create cascading momentum, where one win naturally sets up the next. This method transforms isolated victories into a chain of progress. Most importantly, shift your focus from distant mountaintops to the next achievable step. Keep your ultimate vision in sight, but concentrate your daily energy on the immediate win within reach. This present focus prevents overwhelm while ensuring steady movement forward. So ask yourself, will you keep waiting for distant breakthroughs while overlooking today's small victories? Or will you harness the transformative power of momentum through consistent, incremental achievement? Living as if success is certain isn't about emotion, it's about strategic positioning. A deliberate stance changes the way you perceive challenges, make decisions, and direct your energy. Operating from this position activates what psychologists call a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your expectations begin shaping the very conditions that bring them to life. This isn't magical thinking, but a practical approach to achievement that redefines your relationship with obstacles. Nikola Tesla embodied this principle. While working under Thomas Edison, he envisioned an alternating current system that clashed with his employer's direct current model. Even in the face of Edison's ridicule, active opposition, poverty, and sabotage, Tesla held to absolute certainty in his vision. This wasn't mere stubbornness. It was strategic conviction that fueled his persistence through extraordinary resistance. He acted as if success was predetermined, and today the global electrical grid runs on the AC system he never doubted. Certainty reveals itself in subtle yet powerful ways. When you truly believe in success, setbacks no longer feel like proof of failure, but like navigational signals pointing you toward your destination. Instead of asking, "Should I continue?" you begin asking, "How should I adjust my approach?" This shift conserves energy and sharpens focus. Certainty also changes how you allocate resources. Those uncertain of success hesitate to commit their time, energy, and capital, and in doing so, create the very conditions that block their progress. Certainty shuts down self-sabotage, letting you deploy your resources with the conviction breakthroughs require. Start by speaking definitively about your vision. Drop tentative phrases like "I'll try" or "I hope," and replace them with "I will" and "I am." This isn't wordplay. It's neurological programming that shifts identity and action. Run a pre-mortem on your success. Visualize the win as complete, then work backward to identify what must have happened to make it inevitable. You'll build a clear roadmap and reinforce that the destination is fixed. Only the route is flexible. Most powerfully, study references who achieved outcomes similar to yours. Trace their journeys in detail. If it was possible for them, it's accessible to you with commitment and strategic adjustment. So, will you meet your biggest goals with tentative hope, or adopt the certainty that turns obstacles into stepping stones toward inevitable success? Your future is shaped by the choices you make today. Act as if every choice matters, because it does. Take charge, move with purpose, and watch your life transform, step by step. The path to greatness begins with a single decision. Make it count, make it powerful. Wishing you great health and happiness. And remember to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.